Perhaps I'll start with Mr. Diamond, a question on inflation. For the last 17 months, we've seen inflation higher than wage growth, which means that the average person's spending power is going down, not up. The last 6 months, we've seen inflation over 8%. Fast forwarding another 6 to 12 months, where are we and why?
The economy is facing some very tough things, okay? We have a strong U.S. consumer. They're spending money, still 10% over last year, 35% over prior year. Their checking accounts are in better shape. Their balance sheet's in better shape. Their debt service ratio is actually almost historical lows. Obviously, it's being eroded by inflation. But and that's kind of the current. Yep. The future, not that far away, you have QT, rising rates, more inflation, war in Ukraine, which is deteriorating, oil prices, which I still think are kind of precarious. And yeah, those things have the potential to put the country and the world into a recession, which will obviously help inflation, but is not the preferred way to get there. So the worst outcome is stagflation. So conquering inflation is a very important thing to do.
So when I look at the credit card balances, they're going up, not down. The challenges for small businesses finding employees, worse, not better. The truth is that in many ways, our economy is looking at some really strong headwinds. We would hope that the worst is in the rearview mirror, but truly, perhaps it's in the windshield. And I just wonder, as we think about the stress tests and trying to break this down for the average person at home, listening to a banking hearing, I'm not sure why they would be listening, but just in case they are, the question I ask myself is, as we have these conversations about capital requirements going up, which means that loans will go down, and inflation still is heading in the wrong direction. Finding employees is harder than it was. Having been a small business owner, that formula looks like a first-time business owner, minority business owners, are going to have a harder time getting the credit they need to grow and strengthen the economy in their neighborhoods. Am I wrong when you add all that together?
I think there are capital requirements which are causing us to reduce lending right now to build up capital because of a recent stress test, which I thought was completely unnecessary.
But the stress test actually proved that we are in a healthier position than you all are in a healthier position you've ever been in. Therefore, increasing the capital requirements that reduces loans might have a unintended perverse consequence for small business owners trying to figure out how to bring more opportunities to their communities. Is that accurate, Ms. Major?
Seemed abnormal to me, yeah.
Yes, that seems a possible outcome.
Anyone disagree with that? So, to me, it seems like then the solution is if our stress test and the challenges that we're putting our banks through in order to make sure that they are healthy enough to endure a pandemic or 2008 should suggest if we want more lending for more business startups, then we would be heading, according to Vice Chairman Barr's comments, we would be heading in the wrong direction. Thoughts? I love when you guys are silent. It says so much.
Senator, if I may, there's two things that have changed over the last few years. One is the CECL accounting standard, which causes banks to have to reserve for the life of the loan potential losses. As we go into a slower economic period, which I believe we're going to go into, it's going to cause banks to reserve and pull money off the table at the same time as we're raising capital requirements, which is also going to pull money off the table. So effectively, we're pro-cyclical in the potential downturn that we're going to face here from those two effects.
And let me just wrap up my thoughts so that we can go into another colleague with this simple synopsis. All that we've talked about makes it harder for the average person in our country to grow their confidence in our institutions, number one. Number two, there's probably, according to the numbers, about 5.4% or 7 million Americans who are unbanked. The whole concept of financial inclusion gets harder, not easier, in the current environment. And as we go through weathering more storms, those unbanked may not look positively on a system that they don't understand anyways, and that the rates are going up and the loans are going down. I think this is a very frustrating time for Americans who are looking for a chance to achieve the American dream, to achieve that dream. I just wonder if we're not doing more harm than good as it relates to the environment that is not consistent with the average person wanting to lean into opportunity in a time that we need more people getting capital off the sidelines and into the market.
Thanks, Senator Scott.